All right, and we are live on the air. It is December 20th, 2018, 5 days away from Christmas. Welcome. And I have Ron on today with me as a co host. Ron, you want to say hello?
Hello, good morning.
There you go. Hey. And Ron and I both are in Florida, and we're both having rainy weather, and I believe it's supposed to last all day. So lots of fun when it rains in Florida, kind of like snow up north. Um, so I decided to do a Daredevil today, and gonna play around a little bit more with the red watercolor. Red seems to be popular with the room. You see, it's a theme, right, Ron?
So, who's your favorite artist for Daredevil?
Let's see. Well, I really liked when Miller was doing it, but I think um, as far as artist, Mazzucchelli did some incredible stuff when he was on it, and more recently, and when I say that, I know it's been um, quite a few, like maybe a decade ago or so, was Chris Somney. How about yourself?
I don't have a lot of knowledge about the different artists.
Yeah, Paulo Rivera did a nice run on Daredevil as well.
I saw his on Instagram. They were very good.
Yep, yep. So he had a really nice feel for the character.
I think he's doing a signing over there on the 23rd.
Yeah, he's going to be at a local comic shop. Let's see, that would be Sunday. Sunday. He and his dad, Joe. Joe does most of his inking if Paulo doesn't. Um, so yeah, they're gonna be over here for a signing. Maybe you should plan on coming over Sunday, and I think that would be on your way in. Is your piece of art signed, or you could have them sign it?
I don't think it's signed, but it is in the frame, and I don't think I'll pop it out.
Oh yeah, there is that. I don't blame you there. I think I would just keep it keep it as is, then if it's framed up.
Good morning, Stephen. He says good morning. He has the volume off right now. His class is taking a test.
Okay, we don't want to disturb them because he's teaching calculus, something that is way beyond where I went in math. I went to pre-algebra. That was my math credit that I needed to graduate. I only needed one back in the Stone Age, and once I got that, I was good. My dad was not happy, but I was.
So, you're saying that Stephen is way beyond your math level?
Oh yeah, he's a calculus teacher, which I have no idea. Yeah, what's involved? I didn't understand pre-algebra. I was not a math person, so I didn't understand algebra, all that A and B, and it's almost like Common Core, I guess. It. All I need is simple multiplication and adding and subtracting, as far as I know. Maybe I need more, but too late now.
With your later morning streams, Stephen has class. He's trying to work around them to see your streams. So now he's just giving his kids tests every morning.
the
That's what I'm
kid,
imagining.
if the kids knew, they probably would hate me. Why are we having so many tests?
Pre-calculus trig this morning.
Oh man, see that stuff just doesn't register with me. Now, like I said, I am very glad that I kind of fell into taking typing in junior high. I had an elective that I didn't know what to take, and none of them appealed to me, and I think the classes got filled before I made a decision, and typing in something else was the only available at the time, and I took typing, and lo and behold, I use typing skills every day now. And I only did it because it seemed like it was the lesser of two evils, so to speak. But I was good at it. I was darn good at it. And I think, I did even, I'm trying to remember, I took home ec. That was an elective. And it was one of those things that I don't know if I was lucky or unlucky. I think it was in 7th grade, could have been 8th. I had it first period, so it was early in the morning. So I learned how to make some killer biscuits, and from the biscuit dough, learned how to make some killer cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, we didn't have an option. We had to take home ec and you had to take shop.
Yeah, I took shop, and we made a footstool. You remember the bandsaw, or the table saw rather? The table saw. And the interesting thing is, the instructor was telling people how dangerous it could be if you didn't pay attention. How if you didn't keep the piece of wood you were sawing in half, or whatever, if you didn't keep it flush against that little guide thing and going through the saw blade, that it could kick back on you. Well, somebody must not have been paying attention, because it kicked back and hit him in the stomach, the wood, not during one of my classes, but in another one. So he was out for about a week, and when he came back, and this could only happen in shop. It's like the shop teacher always has to have a knuckle missing or something, right? I mean, or they should have. That should be a prerequisite. You teach shop, you got to be missing a finger or something. But I remember when he came back, he was out. When he came back, he's he told the story, and then he said, and then you get this, and he started unbuckling his pants and stuff, and because it went down just right around his waist level where the belt would be, and into his stomach, but he had this horrible looking bruise where the wood hit him. And he said, let me show you what happens when you get hit with a piece of wood from a table saw that kicks back at you. I don't know who the student was that did that, but I'm sure that kid either felt really bad or probably wasn't in shop class anymore.
He was not allowed to use power tools.
Yeah, I think he was probably banned.
He got the Fisher-Price saw.
There you go. He got plastic. So anyway, doing a good old Daredevil today. I do, I always kind of liked the character, and it's a shame. I haven't watched the series 3 yet on Netflix, but I hear it's good. Just a shame that it's canceled. Hopefully, wherever it goes, they will be smart enough to keep the cast together, because I think they were really good. I think they had a good synergy together.
They definitely did. They were cast well. I was really surprised about the Kingpin. He told me.
Yeah. Yeah, well, same thing with me. I kept looking at that guy going, I know this guy from somewhere. And then when I found out where, it made perfect sense. But man, when you compare the two roles, uh, he really, he really became quite a good actor. He was good in Full Metal Jacket, but I don't think that really, you know, prepared him for the role of Kingpin. And I really don't know what else. I kind of didn't follow his career because I figured he would always be known as Pyle.
Well, you are racking up the likes on your Kingpin
On
Instagram.
Yeah,
Mm,
what's it at now?
51.
Now, that's not bad.
Well, I feel like it was 30 like an hour ago.
Yeah, well, some people get like, in an hour they're like at a couple thousand or at least 1,000 already. It's no Red Goblin piece. That's the only one I've ever had hit over 1,000. Maybe Kingpin will. Maybe that hashtag of Into the Spider-Verse is bringing in some new people. How are the comments on that doing, by the way? Still just the one?
Still just the one.
The one Weisenheimer?
Mm. Perhaps he meant it.
Yeah, I know. It's
You have a lot of bilingual people following you.
I got you.
Europeans.
Yep, I know. That's why I just gave it a nice thanks. Not sure exactly how it was meant, but I'm I'm not gonna be salty. I'm just gonna say thank you. Because either way, that's the right answer. Or at least I think it is, right?
It was very good.
It works either way. I'm just telling someone thank you. Hey, they made a comment. At least that's something. Good, bad, or indifferent. They made a comment.
No, he never posted up that watercolor Daredevil video, did he?
Paulo?
Mm-hmm.
Um, like the long version?
Yeah.
No, because it would be too long. He said he needed to edit it or do commentary or something. And then he also had one on uh, a Black Panther cover. That may be what you're thinking of, right? The Black Panther cover?
No. It was the Daredevil,
Mm.
and that's what he had said. It was he had a lot of editing. The one that you commented on, and he replied back.
Well, there was two. There was a Hellboy that looked real nice, and I think that's a cover uh, that's out now, or that I saw. I think on his that's finished. Didn't he show something that's finished on that?
He did show a Hellboy that was finished.
Yeah, and that's the Hellboy head was what he was working on in gouache, and it was really nice. And I think he said he has the whole thing captured on video. He just has to go in and do like a commentary and maybe edit some stuff. And that's where, you know, uh, that's why I have a few little things but I still need to, like the John Wick piece that I showed you that I'm doing the ink wash on it. I need to kind of splice that together. I don't think I need commentary on it. So that would be kind of easy. And I should put it into like a third part of that playlist just because it
It
would.
would be good. It would be cool.
Yeah, well, and it might get a few new views on it when you add something. So, but I also like, and I know you commented on it, that I'm putting some of this stuff that I find useful into playlists that are public, so that people can see what I'm watching uh, and learning from. All right.
Now, is there any comic book that you would like to be seen turned into a series?
Um. Hmm. Of course, I would say Captain America, but that could be a time. That could be a timepiece, or it could be a current. Batman's had enough shows, and still has plenty, I think, and reruns. Um, with Captain America, the only and I hate to kind of even bring this part up because it goes into that territory I don't like to go, but I could see maybe why they wouldn't, because it might have to get into some political stuff. So it may not be uh, the best choice, but that's why I said if it was a period piece, even then they could bring up you know some stuff that people wouldn't be down with. So I think let's see who else. Daredevil was an interesting choice, I think, because his out of costume, like the lawyer side, is that's a to me that's a very good story part to have. Like a secondary, or they can do a lot with stories of court cases tied into uh, Daredevil and stuff.
So there'd be multiple storylines within the story.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is you have that you know uh, well, like them just finding a building and them being new lawyers and trying to get clients and stuff. It's always good to have that little break from the action to draw viewers in. So it's a good one. I'm trying to think of what other character has a really good kind of a, well, I wouldn't say a attorney. It's like a blue collar or whatever, but just a good, let's say, job or front, so to speak. Because you do all the superhero stuff, you don't get a break. You don't get to know the character beyond the action stuff. I think you got to have some of that. I don't know. You have ideas or?
I am trying to think of a profession of a hero that would fit in that well.
Yeah, see, I like, and I'm way behind on all this stuff, even at Netflix. But did Luke Cage have a job, or was he just Power Man, hero for hire? I mean, was that it?
I don't know. I did not watch
You
the
didn't see it?
Netflix series. No.
because that's kind of how I knew him was, Luke Cage, and I think his little tagline wasn't it "Hero for Hire," like
Yes.
so, um, he's kind of, I love this stuff, the character, but I don't know out of a comic book if it could work in. I guess it all has to do with the writer and how they approach it, though.
We have a fourth viewer. New viewer just came in.
Welcome, new viewer. Ron has joined me today so I can kind of keep my eyes front and center on the artwork. And doing a Daredevil, which I'm sure it's there on the description, and I'm gonna wind up coloring him red at the end. Probably do some gray tones on his face, but leaving the gray. Not doing any other color. Just maybe keeping him red. Very quiet out there, Ron. I think as I get closer to the hot, and you know what I was thinking? As I get closer to the holiday, I was almost thinking like, would it be, is it going to be worth me trying to stream next week after Christmas? I don't know. I was thinking, huh?
People are off on the holiday.
Yeah, I know, but they're also involved in stuff, you know? What I the way that yeah, and here's the deal. The way Christmas is falling this year on, Christmas Eve, Monday, and then Christmas Tuesday, I wonder how many people are looking forward to going back to work on, for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I know you're itching to get back, but
Well, for some people, that's a very long weekend.
yeah, no, it is, believe me. And getting that time off like that, sometimes when it's time to go back, it might be tough. But, I'm looking at it from my point of this stuff will be out there still, it'll be recorded. So I should do it for the people that want to catch up or, can have the time to catch up. So just one of those things that make me think like, well, here I am. Are people going to show up? What was the Saturday Night Live thing? Listen to me now and hear me later. the bodybuilder guys. Now you probably remember what their names were, right?
I don't. I just
Hans and Franz. Hans and Franz, but I can't. Did they have a last name?
I have no idea.
But did they not during that time period get Arnold? That was like their big, they always had pictures of Arnold like in their, well, whatever, their studio setup, but like their house or something, like he was, Arnold was like their god.
He definitely motivated them,
Right.
influenced them.
In more ways than one. And I think he was the inspiration for the characters to, do the speech because they were from Austria too, or something, I believe.
I remember them pushing the "I want to pump you up."
Yes. Now, here's something. Did they? You know, because they were good for a quick skit. They didn't have a movie, did they?
Nothing I'm aware of.
Yeah, that was one thing it just occurred to me. I'm like, I couldn't remember if because a lot of that Saturday Night Live stuff, they, like what was the Wayne's World, developed into what, two movies?
Wayne's World was two movies, yes.
And I have to admit, I had a huge crush on Tia Carrera myself.
She was Hawaiian, right?
I believe so. She was some exotic looking beautiful lady, and I'm sure she still is. But I just remember her being in the movie as the, uh, and then was it, didn't Dana Carvey play Garth, and like he just was like frozen when he saw her or something. He just like was staring.
That was
Mike Myers.
Myers, yeah. Dana Carvey froze with that blonde girl at the restaurant, and that Dreamweaver song came on.
That's what it was. Okay. I knew he froze with someone. Yeah. That was some classic stuff.
Then he went into the Jimi Hendrix Foxy.
Yes. When they, I don't think the second movie probably did as well as the first one. And it probably shouldn't have ever happened, but I think the money um, back then was offered, and who's going to say no? But, we were on Friday when we were talking to Mike Cross about the McKenzie brothers and stuff, which, that came from Second City TV. So it is interesting when you think these little short, couple minute skits from a comedy show can be turned into feature length movies at one time. Don't see that anymore.
SNL put out a lot of those.
I know. Did they ever do a Pat movie?
I think so.
I think they did too. That's why I was asking. I was hoping you would know. And the thing is, I don't think I saw it because I think by the time it came out, I was kind of over the whole Pat skit thing. I was like, it's good for what it is, but a movie, seemed like it was a bit. How could they stretch that out into 90 minutes? I mean, you would eventually would have to reveal. I would assume the gender of Pat.
They did the Superstar.
What was that?
Another SNL skit. Cheerleader girl.
See, I don't remember that one.
She was. I can't remember who that. I don't know if it was Tina Fey or.
See, I haven't watched. I stopped watching SNL like quite a while ago, and never got back. Well, it's I would like to, although I've heard it's just it missed. It's not as good as it once was, and I can kind of see that.
Mary Catherine Gallagher was the Superstar.
That was the name of the movie?
No, that was the name of the lady that played the character. And that's the fictional character.
Yeah, she went by Superstar?
I think that was the name of the movie. Molly Shannon was the cast member.
See, like I said, I can't remember. I remember what was probably around the last I watched, and then I remember the Wayne's World stuff. I remember Dana Carvey, Adam Sandler. After those guys started leaving, I wasn't I kind of got out of watching it. Probably somewhere in my late 30s or somewhere around there, which would have been eons ago for you. Probably about your age, I quit watching it. Mid to late 30s, I think. Because I think there were a couple of seasons, maybe the last seasons I watched, that were just really bad. I mean, they were just really flat. And it seemed like they were really struggling to find somebody that could, be one of those guys that, or girls that went on to, superstardom, so to speak, or that you could tell was going to be a real talent. Or maybe not tell, maybe that's the wrong word, but you could kind of sense that they, like Eddie Murphy, I always knew he was, he was a special, like, talented person. And then, you don't hear anything about Mr. Murphy anymore.
What was your favorite movie from him, or favorite couple?
Well, what was it? Trading Places? I wanted to say Changing Places.
Trading Places.
Yeah, Trading Places was good. I really like that. And Coming to America, I vaguely remember that one. It seemed to me like that one was okay. But I think if I'm being completely honest, it was more of, it's probably what you would get on like a Netflix or something now, was his stand-up thing that they taped. I think was it called Raw? Eddie Murphy Raw?
I think that was it.
Because at the time when that was on, it was, I don't think anybody, had put a movie out that like really pushed, the comedy that far. And it was just weird to think you're going to see like a recorded stand-up routine. Now that would be like a Netflix special, where well, I guess people did go see it, but kind of hard to think that could be kept under wraps, right? Like, well, I guess, you think so. I think something, and then I contradict myself automatically because I'm like, I got to think of the time period, and that was probably late 80s. It had to be. So nobody was really running around with a small camera where they could have recorded any footage. And I imagine the Netflix stuff that they do now, the comedy specials, I bet those people, I bet they get scrutinized for anything, a recording device, so none of the jokes can get out until the specials aired, because that would really ruin it. They can't go by trust alone.
Netflix is investing a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's it, all it takes is somebody with a small recording device to put it out on the web before Netflix has got it edited and produced and ready to show. And, if somebody puts it up as a bootleg thing, kind of kills it. So there's got to be some sort of standard, there really, I would imagine there's got to be some sort of policy, some sort of, I don't know, you know, because I imagine those. How do you think it works? I'm sure they get paid something by Netflix to do a comedy special, but then do you think the audience has to buy tickets to it? Or do you think it's like they're screened and get in free? Now you've opened up my whole thought. See, I'm going down this wormhole that I'm like, you know?
You need to make them pay.
Huh?
You need to make them pay, so they can turn around and give that money to the artist.
Well, but I thought that was Netflix, you know? It's like it's an exclusive. I'm sure the answer is somewhere. I'm sure the answer is somewhere, and we're just not. We're not smart enough to deduct what it is.
Well, if anyone from Netflix is watching, please feel free to leave your comments below.
Yes, I would enjoy knowing how they can quell people from bootlegging or letting. I mean, heck, all you gotta do is have a super memory, and some people do, you know. Hey, let me tell you this joke Chappelle said on his special. let me run it for you. I know you didn't check out the new Ron White one yet, did you?
I have not.
But that's okay. It's going to be there.
And I promise I will watch it, Netflix. I promise.
You know, out of all those guys, I kind of like Ron White the best out of the blue collar or whatever they are comedians out of that whole group. Larry's funny and stuff, but Ron has that dry kind of, you know, it's almost like kind of a slow boil sometimes when he says something, and it takes that nanosecond just to sink in for you to really like appreciate it.
It's all in his timing.
It's yeah, and you know, and I think he's one of the guys that, you know, I think he's even got a good chuckle at one of his own jokes, like a legitimate, like where he really did get tickled by it after he said it and kind of couldn't compose himself. And I can't remember what special that was. It may have been the tater salad one. Ron, have you ever told an officer that they call me tater salad?
Nope.
Would you ever do that?
Nope. I would say, yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir. Please
That's
give
right.
me a warning, sir.
I don't even do that. Sable will tell you. I have not been pulled over, and boy, don't you hate saying this stuff because you always think like, okay, now I'm gonna do something and get pulled over. But you know, I just when I get pulled over, if I'm speeding and they've got a speed trap, or I guess they don't have those. If an officer sees that I'm maybe going faster than the speed limit, or they might have a device that clocks me going faster and I get pulled over, I just hand them, you know, when they ask me for my license and registration, I just hand it to them. I keep very quiet, and if they ask me a question, I answer it. And if they ask me, you know, like the normal question is one of them. For those of you who have never been pulled over, this is not legal advice, but this is just what I do. If they ask me, number one, do you know why I pulled you over? I always say no, because sometimes I don't know. And no is the good answer, because if you say something different, then, you know what I mean, Ron?
I have no idea, sir.
Yeah. I see what you did there. No, so I just tell them, no, I don't. I don't know that they pulled me over for speeding. So I just, no, I don't know. I let them explain to me why. And if they tell me I was doing this speed in this zone, I just say, okay. I'm just, okay. And they're like, that's, you know, I'm very polite and respectful of our police officers, and I'm not being smart. I just figure that the less I say, the better. If I'm gonna get a ticket, just give me my ticket and let me get on my way. And I'm not going to. I have never really tried to talk my way out of anything because I figure, I'm either going to get one or not. It's up to them. That's my advice. Just now, I will tell you, well, you are familiar with 95. I got on one evening. It was dark, and I had my older Dodge Charger, 1973 440 Magnum. Had built it up a little bit, and I wanted to kind of get on the highway and let it out a little bit, and I did. And I saw an officer cut across the median. He was, of course, I was going south, he was going north, and I thought, you got to be kidding me. I just, I mean, I had just got on the highway. And I kind of floored the gas, and had went at least as fast as the speed limit, if not perhaps a few miles over, fairly quick. And he came ripping across the median. As a matter of fact, I will go that far as to say, I looked in my rearview mirror and I saw him turning around fairly quick, and I thought, oh boy, you got to be kidding me. And so I dropped my speed down and was just driving along. And this was nighttime-ish, not real late, but not real early. So he got behind me and turned on the lights, and I pulled over. The typical, why I pulled you over. And this is where my no, officer, I don't, because I didn't know. I really wasn't paying attention to how fast I was going. And believe it or not, and you have to believe it because it's the truth, my one of my headlights was burned out. And so that's what it was, a burnout headlight. So all I got was that little card that you have to have it fixed within like 48 hours or something, or else you'll have to pay a higher fine. You have to mail that card back in, or at least that's how you had to do it back then. I don't know what the procedure is now. But yeah, so I could have said, well, I guess you caught me speeding because I floored it when I got on the on ramp, and you were on me pretty quick. But since I said no, I didn't, I did not know I had a headlight out either. So for what it's worth, kids, you don't know unless you really do. And I kind of did, but I didn't. Can you see this Daredevil, Ron?
I can see that Daredevil.
Okay, so the quality of the video is good.
It is good.
Yeah, that sharpness thing really helped on my camera. Glad I dug into the settings a little bit more. Now, the driving school thing, have you ever done that?
No.
Okay, I did that once when I got a speeding ticket, and I had a couple other tickets that were not real close together, but I didn't want the points on my license. And this is when they had, I remember, uh, this will make you laugh. I had an 84 Fiero, brand new one, and I got a speeding ticket in that. Little four banger. Um, but uh, that's about the time, sometime around there, they started that, if you don't want you still had to pay the ticket. You had to pay to take the class, which I think it was $40 or $50 or something. So you still got, you still got the ticket. But the thing was, your insurance you didn't get the points on your insurance, so therefore your rate wouldn't get dinged by having points. I told this story just recently. I don't know if it was to you or not.
Was not, but I did take that kind of driving class. I thought you meant out in Daytona where you're at, you have those NASCAR driving classes.
Oh no, this is like so you don't get
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and so, but how long ago was that you took it?
10, 15 years.
Okay, yeah. So, um, you probably had a different experience, but here's mine. When when I found out about it, the officer, it was this new thing. So when he's giving me the ticket, I think they gave me like a postcard with all the information on it, like the number to call, and there's, you'll if you choose to do it, it was like they had to explain all this stuff because it was like this new deal. So, um, but the interesting part, or maybe it's not so interesting, it's maybe scary. The scary part was back when they first started it, you could only take it twice in your lifetime, and you couldn't take it like if you took it. Well, let's see. The wife sent me something I'll have to look at. Um, oh, it's an attachment on Messenger. So, well, my 2 years old likes to sing Frozen movie. I think she sent me.
There's Elsa, Jacob.
This is a picture from when Jacob was 2. He loved the movie Frozen, and we had the movie where he could, where they had the words to the song or something. Now he's singing it. Okay. Maybe she put that up on Facebook. I don't know. So yeah, you could only take it like twice in your entire lifetime. And like once a year, I think you could only take it once every, I know you couldn't take it more, twice in the same year. So it's kind of scary because you're thinking like, wow, twice in my entire life, so here I am using it once. And I was like, well, I probably shouldn't never have to take it again. And I didn't. I mean, I went through it, and what I had to do was sit through. It was too. Okay. Yes. Okay. Give her another thumbs up. See, being a father and a husband and a son, I can't like turn my phone off in case there's an emergency. And I do have the do not disturb feature, but if I don't really turn that on except at night, but people like my wife and my mother and my sister and emergency stuff, they can get through anyway. So yeah, twice in your lifetime, and I forget what the exact timing on this was, like, but I know you couldn't use both of them in a single year. So if if you get a ticket the next week, you're getting those points. Anyway, long story short, it's a 2 week thing, but you only go one night per week. And it was like a horrible thing. They stretch it out for 2 weeks, and it's an 8-hour class, so you're there for 4 hours. And basically, this guy that was probably in his 70s, really, he just showed us a couple of movies on safe driving, just like you would in driver's ed. And there were these little tests. I don't even think that the scoring mattered. It's just, he would pass it out, and you would fill them. You would fill them out. I don't think, it wasn't like you had to pass them. You just had to put answers in. But I mean, I guess part of it is I guess the point is you wanted to get them right. And so I remember, okay, first week, 4 hours, next week, 4 hours. And then you got like a certificate from him at the end that you would then have to go down to either the courthouse or the DMV and turn that in and pay your ticket. And then you wouldn't get the points on your license. Now, what I was going to ask you, Ron, and you're probably more familiar. Well, you're probably not familiar with the time period, but you might be more familiar with. I think they finally realized that why limit it to twice in your lifetime when it's a money-making machine for them, for the city or the county. So I know now that you can take it as many times as you need to, or as you want to.
I thought it was 6.
Oh, is it? Well, see, yeah. Well, I don't know, but that's better than 2. 2's kind of scary when you think about it.
6 is scary if you've already done 5.
I don't know anybody that's done 5, or do I?
You might.
I might know somebody. Yeah, well, and that's what I was going to say, though, is it does seem like when you get a ticket, it seemed like they would always come in threes, or the rule of threes, like bad things happen in threes and stuff. And it was like that with tickets. It always seemed like there was some some other thing to it just seemed like it wasn't good. It seemed like you were on a bad luck streak or something. So
5 for Florida.
5?
It's 5.
Wow. Well, somebody may have hit their max.
Somebody may have.
If I had 5, I would be trying to get a law passed that you guys are making money off of this. Why would you limit it to 5?
We just need to wait till a senator hits his 5.
There you go. You know what? You're absolutely right.
Then we'll go to 10.
10 sounds like you could never do 10, right?
I'm sure somebody could.
Oh, I'm sure. You get one of those fast Mopars, and you just gotta kind of hit the. I know what it's like. You gotta hit the gas every now and again. But I think it's for any moving violation, not just speeding.
And it'll take points off and keep your insurance from going up.
Yes. Yes. And my insurance is, I am a safe driver, and I don't know what the deal is, but my insurance is high. And whenever I call about it, they always tell me, "Oh, Mr. Beatty, everybody's has went up across the board." So would you say your insurance is high, Ron?
It's lower than it ever used to be, so I'm happy for that.
Okay. Lower than it ever used to be. I remember when my nephew, when one of the stupidest things I ever did was co-sign a loan for him to get a car. And I had a good deal with the car dealership, and he made it worse because he was afraid that he wasn't going to get the car. And it was a Mustang. It was a used one, but it was nice. And he was a first-time driver, under 25, and he's the one I was talking to you. He's about your age now, and so he got the car, and he went to get the insurance, and his insurance payment was actually more than his car payment. Now he got the insurance at that like General Direct, the ones on the side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like a State Farm, or it was, the ones that are usually in the strip plazas. And I don't know how much shopping he did for insurance, but he needed insurance to get the car, so they are fairly quick to insure you, I believe. And I just found it quite amusing that his insurance payment per month was like about $20 more than his car payment. Now, I've never had that, but I don't like my insurance payment now. It seems like it's up there.
Now, are you going to be putting down gray tones before you put down the red?
On that's what I was thinking today. I'm not sure if I wanted to do gray tones on the red, because well, number one, I would like to have like a lot of dry time to do that. And the other reason is I think I'm just going to do his flesh in the gray. So I kind of want the red just to be a nice bright red, and his face to be in the gray tones. So I probably won't. I'll probably just leave it, and then boom, make it a red. But we'll see. That always changes. I'm kind of inking this right now without any blacks on the mask. And I hadn't really decided if I wanted blacks on the mask, but I don't think I'm gonna put any because I'm kind of liking the way it looks without it. But that's where gray tones. If I would put some gray on the mask. It would have to be a darker gray to make the shade when I put the red on, and I'm not really sure if that's the right way to go. I'm still kind of deciding, but that is a good question. But see, yesterday on the Kingpin, it was, it wasn't the full strength red. It was the same red, but it was extremely watered down, and it also had gray in it. But the final piece I thought was, extremely. I think it turned out really well. So. So see, right now, I just kind of think about it, and I'm like, well, black on his mask. I'm thinking about doing. I was thinking about doing something in the background, like maybe those dry brush flash lines that I haven't done in a while. But I also thought about doing a black background, and then maybe using my. Although I really need to let the ink dry, using that jelly roller pen to do like the radar radiating out.
Okay.
From the background only, not like over the red, because that would really just kind of turn pink. When you put that over the dye, the Dr. Martin's Radiant Watercolor, which is dye based, it really doesn't stay white. The dye wants to keep bleeding through.
So your Pentel white pen might work for that?
I don't have one. Well, I do have one. I don't know where it's at. Yeah, it would work, but my templates are fairly clean. They don't have white all over them. I think that is the one good thing about the Pentel whiteout is I think it does go over, but I still think that the Dr. Martin's watercolors that are dye based, I think those will continue to come through eventually. They are really powerful colors. They don't mess around. They're intense. Now, when I just take it right out of the bottle and don't really put a second coat, it kind of, it's not thick, it's transparent. That's why normally you'll see me, have to, like on the Spider-Man stuff, um, it's always, it's always like probably going back over it at least again, to get that intense red. I mean, it's pretty intense, but it's not going to be as rich a red because it's not as thick. Being a watercolor, it's transparent. Therefore, the extra coat, I guess, or the extra layer of it, like putting it down more than once, saturates it more and gives it the richer, deeper color. I could also do some like a curvature thing as some kind of free-handed quick building indications, but I'm not sure. I kind of, it's always kind of the radar thing going around him. Although, truthfully, on this one, it usually follows its head somehow, and I don't really have a template or anything that big, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to see. If I do any, I might have to go with wash tones. I just might. It might just be too much of a big flat red without it. What do you think, Ron?
I have no idea. You're the professional here. I think It's gonna look good either way.
Yeah, I got no problem with that. I'm just, I'm thinking if I put tones on it, uh, oh, now you put that on me. I'll get to that in a minute.
What I was thinking about was that eraser. It doesn't leave little pieces of eraser particle all over the place.
Oh, the kneaded eraser? Yeah, no. Although this one is this one is new and this one is used, so you can see this is the used one. See how it's getting darker?
Mm-hmm.
That means it's getting more graphite and dirt and stuff in it. So this is about ready to be tossed, whereas this one just needs to be warmed up. They become more pliable as you stretch them and mess with them once they get a little warmth to them. And this really is, this is how you clean them, is just by kneading them and stretching. It's almost like silly putty when you would lift a image off, but it's always funny. Kids at conventions, when they see you take one of these things out, they get mesmerized and they don't know what it is, like, what is that? And then when you show them it's an eraser, they even get more excited. So usually we give them a little piece, or if I have an extra small one or something, I'll give it to some kid that's interested, and they can take it to school and have a special eraser. So let's see. Let's see what I'm going to do here. I know I'm going to check. I got this one from yesterday and a few days ago. That's a nice. Just going to use this. This is my dirty ink water. This is a nice light tone to put some lights on his face. Some first shading. Don't know how dark I want to go. Although sometimes I go darker than I think I'm gonna. Better to go lighter. You always go darker. It's sometimes hard to lift the ink wash off once it's down. Although it can be done with more water if you catch it in time. Once it's dry, you're kind of committed to it. Let's see. I just got an email from Dick Blick. Let's see what kind of, they see, this is one thing about being on a mailing list is I already ordered this stuff, but I kind of keep it in my cart again, so I know what I ordered. And they're sending me a reminder that I left stuff in my cart, but I don't need to order anything right now. Ron, you don't need to order anything right now.
I do not.
You just went over and got blicked.
I did.
You got blicked. I would have, and of course I know you didn't know. I would have been asking, hey, what's the deal? Why can I get this cheaper online? I think the next time, in fact, I still want to go over there. I still want to check the store out. I'm sure it's really cool, right?
Oh, it is nice.
Is it a big store? Fairly big? No?
I will shoot you a couple pictures of it later. It's okay.
Oh, okay, cool. Because see, I always imagine like walking into it and it's like, I guess because There used to be one in Orlando. It closed sometime. I want to say it closed before I could actually like drive over to it. So, but I know I was in it a couple times, and it seems to me like I remember it was this huge like warehouse place, and it could have been, if memory serves me correct, but that's the way I kind of thought the one in Tampa would be this like to die for art supply store where everything's in stock, including Copic markers.
No, they were a nice store. I mean, I don't want to.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just thinking it's like a warehouse, like a BJ's or a Sam's Club size, for art supplies. But you can definitely say it's not that size. So that's all I was saying was that I thought it would always be like this huge superstore. All right, so a little bit of so we got 5 watching, and I don't think that includes you or me. And the chat is quiet, almost too quiet, Ron, as the saying goes.
They are planning something.
They are. I think you're right. I think they're planning Christmas. But that's okay, because I'll have a nice Daredevil sketch done that I didn't have done earlier. Let's see. So I'm going to need a darker. Let's see. Get some water going here. I believe people are ready for the holiday. That is my feeling. The Yuletide is not the roll tide. The Yuletide is what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Help me out here.
I am not certain. I have to take a call real quick. I'm gonna mute.
Okay, Ron. All right, so Ron's on the call. I'm doing a Daredevil. I'm trying to do my second darker color wash, and that's not quite dark enough. So I'm going to add another little bit of black in my darker gray palette well here. And that seems to be about right. So, don't know if y'all saw that or not. This one here, I don't want it any darker than that for his face. So, the real test is to wash my brush out. Even though this is the one I inked with, it's still going to have some ink in it. So now I'm going to go back and let's see if I get the same value. I think that's close enough, and if not, I can build up. I can build it up. So I know I'm definitely going to get this shadow underneath the nose. Definitely make it darker. And going to go into the philtrum here. Down the side where his beard would be a little bit. Need to put my paper towel up here to. Okay. Top lip is going to get a little darker. That's looking good. And the bottom lip a little. Okay, let that run a bit and then blot. Blot. Don't want to get them too dark. Just enough tone.
Back. Sorry about that.
No problem, Ron. I understand. Believe me, I've had to take calls and stuff myself, as you've seen. Some stuff you can't ignore. Just into the kind of the darker shade here on his face. And I think keeping in with the with the Netflix version of Daredevil, I am gonna indicate a little bit of what would be a beard, a 5 o'clock shadow. That's a little heavy. Let's dab that up if I can. There we go.
6 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, yeah. He's got another hour there. Well, it's really okay in this area. Like I said, I tend to try to want to make things too smooth, and I need to. That's something I need to get out of my system. I need to let the watercolor kind of play and let it do what it's supposed to. Well, I keep calling this watercolor, but the ink wash, I need to let it do what it wants to do. That's the bad thing about working in a media that you're not really supposed to control so much, and being a controlling person as far as like with my inking, wanting a lot of control over it. It's that separation. I have separation anxiety. I can control my ink line, but the ink wash I want to control, and I should let it just do, let it have these little blends and bleeds and stuff happen, because that's the beauty of it. So better catch that. Don't want a drip going awry. All right, so okay. I was wondering what I was seeing there, and it was just the dampness and just the wet. Yeah, I'm now that I kind of put that in there, I think if I just, and this kind of, this is one of those things where I think if I just went in with red, I don't think it would, I think I need to put some tone in the mask. So I can actually use this darker gray wash as my light wash in the red, and then go a little bit darker before I put red on it. 10-4, Ron?
I am hearing you.
All right.
I don't know what the call sign is for 10-4 back. Copy that.
Or Roger that, I guess. I don't know.
Roger that.
Yeah. I just remember that from not military days, but CB days. I remember my dad had a CB radio out in his truck, and because he used to go to Jacksonville every week to pick up tires for his shop, and he had a CB radio in it. So at night, when CB radios were very popular back in the day, we would get on it and play at night. Well, not really play. We had, there were friends that we knew from school and stuff, and this is all before your time, but it was during that CB craze. And I think some people still, are into the, well, I know the ham radio is definitely a popular communication with a lot of people. And this I can actually be very, I'm going to let this work its magic. I'm not going to worry about the blends and stuff. I'm going to just kind of, I was going to say scrub it in, but I don't like to use that word with ink wash and watercolor. And I'm not going to color his eye in, though, or put any shade in it, because I do want it to really just pick up the bright red. Ron, why are you calling me?
Pocket dial.
Oh, that's the kidney lady, my sister Ann. Let me tell her I'm streaming. I'm gonna mute my mic real quick. Hello. Yeah. Streaming. Bye. Ron.
You're not mute.
Yeah, I know. Well, I think I am maybe on this stream, maybe not. I just told her I was streaming, so let's see. Am I mute now? No. Ron?
I am not certain. I can hear you.
Okay. There's Dr. Kaz. Good morning, Dr. Kaz. Yes, kidney lady. I'm going to have her subscribe to my channel.
Wasn't already?
Huh?
Wasn't already?
I don't think so. She should. Then she could just put something in the chat. What are you doing? Oh, I see. No, I'll talk to you later. Dr. Kaz, can you hear me? Yeah, because I thought I hit the mute, but I could see my levels still on the on the meter there moving, but it was okay because I was just going to tell her I'm streaming, and she said, "Oh, okay." So I know she's just taken my mom to the grocery store today. So she was probably telling me some horror story about. Actually, I think I took her to the ear doctor yesterday, and I think she was talking about, since it was supposed to rain all day today, I think she wanted to go tomorrow instead. And maybe my sister was going to tell me, like, "Oh, you're going to have to take her if she wants to go tomorrow because I can't take her."
Kaz says you sound good.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Kaz. Appreciate the feedback. And I don't mean the static feedback. Ron, from like a rock concert.
I don't go to those. I don't know.
Especially not on a work night.
No, not on a work night. Heavens no.
Heaven forbid. How would you ever get any rest? I don't know how you did that and went to Orlando.
Sure.
Although I do think, like, well, for me, it's pretty quick to get there too. It probably is a little quicker for me to get there because I can take the back route once I hit Sanford. It would probably take me about a little over an hour to get there. And for you, it was probably a little more?
Had I been driving, it would have been about an hour, but I rode with some friends.
Oh, okay.
She drove real slow.
And all that time you were thinking, I gotta work tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And you weren't driving because you didn't want to get that 6.
I don't want to have to try to take my 6 speeding course.
When 5 is the limit. So I guess you couldn't take number 6. Or, I mean, if it is you that whoever.
Hypothetical.
Whoever has 5, they're done. We found out, right?
5 is the limit. Shannon says good morning.
Hey, good morning, Shannon. Five is the limit. I'm telling, it's such a moneymaker. Why even cap it at 5, right? You know what? It just occurred to me. It's gotta be something with the insurance companies, like saying, okay, you can go to 5, but you're cutting us out here. But why would the government? Well, I guess they're kind of hand in hand, right? I know. I'm not. We shouldn't talk about anything like that because people are listening.
That shading looks pretty nice.
Yeah. It's almost a shame to put red over it. See, I'm just kind of letting instead of going darker, which I probably could, I'm just kind of building it up. And I think I will have to do a little bit darker if I really want it to come through the red in some of the darkest areas. So I will do at least one more darker wash type thing over it. But I'm just kind of playing in this area. I'm just, as you can see, I'm not really following anything. I'm just like letting it go down, and because actually I think I'm hoping that when I put the red on, this is going to help me with any like parts that might streak with the red. It'll help them kind of just take on the feel of the texture of the mask. So Shannon and Kaz, do your holidays do they start anytime early, or are you guys in it to Friday? Ron here, he's kind of got a break, right, Ron?
Kind
I
of.
mean, yeah, I mean, you still have stuff you can do, but you can do that at home and later, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Shannon says he's taking off early tomorrow afternoon for a week.
Wow, nice. All right. A little dry time on this. Wait a minute. You know what? I need some. Are you staying around the home area, Shannon, or are you planning a trip, if I may ask? Well, I did ask. You don't have to answer, of course, but just curious if it's a trip type deal or if it's just taking the time off and staying around the old homestead. Now I just need to let that dry so that when I go in with one last little bit darker, it will be definitely darker and won't play around too much, but I got to be careful with it. I just want to go in and hit some areas that are gonna eventually be covered with red.
You can just add multiple layers of that red to add more.
Yeah, that I can do. I can, I'm going to try to, well, I kind of have to, because like I said, even though, and that's what I should be doing is shaking this bottle up because it will settle a bit. Yeah, I can add layers. The thing is though, when they're not dry, like completely dry, you're kind of fighting an uphill battle. It's like it wants to keep getting wetter and wetter instead of like letting another layer go on top of it. It just reactivates in a sense. So that's why I said the little hair dryer deal is going to be a necessity for me to grab one. I can pick one up for probably 10, maybe $15 or something. Just one of those little. I'll probably have to get one of those. I don't really. Well, it's nice to have it for the ink wash too, especially when I got the mixed media paper is good. Although some of these have been very wet, and it gets a little ripply, but it works its way out. But they actually make watercolor paper like this too, and it's a lot more toothy. But I think if I know, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's as I'm working on it, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna slap some color on this. Uh, so if I know I'm gonna do something and put some color on it, then I would probably pull out a little bit heavier and toothier watercolor paper because it absorbs the water better because that's what it's made for. But other than that, this is probably getting close enough um, to where I can get a little darker wash in the mask area.
Shannon says they are back to Arkansas for a few days. Otherwise, they're staying home.
Oh, okay. I did a show in Arkansas. I want to say it was 2015. It was a 2-day show, and I believe that it should have truthfully been a 1-day show because all the action happened on Saturday. Sunday was just kind of people came because it was it was a 2-day show, but there wasn't a lot of people that came back. I think it was called the Rock City Comic Con. It was in Little Rock.
Shannon says, yep, he met you there in Little Rock.
Oh, yeah. Did I remember that? I don't remember that. I shouldn't be asking. Man.
I don't know, John. Do you remember that?
I don't. If I would have remembered it, I would have mentioned it. I'm sorry if like I said, sometimes when you get into convention things, it really becomes a blur. Is that a good excuse, Ron? Because that's all I got. So it better be. I don't know if Shannon actually said, "Hey, I'm Shannon," or maybe he didn't. Maybe I really didn't know of who he was at that time. If that makes sense. I mean, it's not like we're. Wow, that's way too dark. Of course, that was some straight ink going into the wash thing. Let me see if I can. That looks like it's going to be better. This here. All right.
Shannon says he's easily forgettable.
Oh, no, it's not that. It's just you meet a lot of people, but like I said, I don't know if at that point Shannon had bought artwork from me because usually he probably had bought something.
Any one day at a show, how many people do you normally at least come across? A couple hundred?
Oh, easy, yeah. Depending on the show and stuff too, it can be easily a couple hundred people. And usually, it's like the old thing that a lot of people will say, sorry, I'm good with faces, but with names, I'm horrible. But even that, if you don't see the same person, like some of the CGC, CBS guys, CBCS guys, those greater guys that bring books for those signatures and stuff, you begin to remember because you see them like at every show. It's like, see you next weekend.
has says he's staying open and local. If he leaves, it's usually the Smoky Mountains with a mountain bike in Cherokee, WSOP. I'm not sure if that's World Series of Poker or what that is. He says his patients are family.
All right. I could Cherokee. There is a Cherokee. I remember my mom and dad used to go up there with my nephews a lot. Place called Cherokee, but yeah, the WSOP does sound like World Series of Poker. I remember when two things on TV that became very popular. One was I remember watching MMA when it was on like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., stuff like that. Like extremely, before it was real popular. It was like one of those, they'll show it real late at night. Um, and I believe that was even before, I mean, that was before you saw a lot of guys tapping out and stuff like that. I mean, they would go and, it was pretty brutal, some of it. And then World Series of Poker. I remember one night just skimming through channels and I came across people playing cards and I was like, "What is this? This is crazy." And but I like playing cards, so for me it was cool and I watched it and then it became really big there for a while. And both of those things, I know MMA has continued, and I don't know about the poker tournaments, but remember when they had that? I forget what they called it, but they actually had that whole. Uh, they had a few different tournament chains, like going around to different areas. And when I mean chains, I mean like if you win certain tournaments and you get points, and then you would, you know, it really you as long as you placed in the money or a certain level, you could still get to like this final big game at the end of the season, so to speak. It was almost like a NASCAR thing. I did not that I'm a NASCAR fan, but I am in Daytona, and the only thing I know about it is they somehow uh, it's as much on points, just placing as much on your winning. To think that poker used to just be the world's, the real World Series of poker, and then it went like everybody was a poker player. I remember when they just used to televise that World Series of poker from, of course, now I'm going to forget the name of the famous, somebody will come through for me though.
So it was World Series of Poker. He says
Oh,
it's
was it?
tournament poker. I'm a math guy. I had to ask him to make sure I wasn't just guessing what WSOP was for.
All right. I'm not a math guy, but I'm a poker guy. I'm guessing math does help, but Zablo and I, we played our share of poker, like a lot, back in the days. All right, now one quick, just kind of get everything working together in harmony here. Oh, I got some on the eye, but that's okay because I'm not going to be fussy with it. Or that fussy. So I guess it would be the Cherokee tournament that he's going to play in. Which, like I said, I think there is a Cherokee, North Carolina or South Carolina somewhere. All right. I am going to take my quick break to run to the restroom while this dries. And hopefully it'll be, well, red's getting put on it when I get back, regardless of whether it's dry enough or not. That's kind of scary. In a interesting sense. I guess it, and you know what? I'm going to, while I go, I'm going to take this one ink wash bottle and, or jar and change it out with fresh water. All right, I'll be right back shortly. Gonna take about a minute or two break. Ron will hold down the room. Right,
I
Ron?
will sit. I will watch the paint dry.
All right. And field any questions that you feel that come in.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, it's flashing like I'm muted, but I don't think I am.
I
Ron?
can hear you.
Yeah, see, that's weird. And now I hit it. Well, so to talk a little poker here real quick with Dr. Kaz, I have not been out there for, boy, probably a decade, if not longer, but we have a dog track and there's a poker room. And, you know, it's okay. I played in a couple of tournaments out there, but never placed because their tournaments they run. Good morning, AG. Let's see. Let me answer this. Okay. Da, 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 da. All right. So, played at dog track. Had some pretty good luck out there. Well, one day I had really bad luck. I had, and I was in the wrong position and I jumped the gun. I had a pair of pocket fives and um, the flop came and it was five ace ace and I went all in and the guy right next to me, I mean literally sitting to my left, he like followed me and so we were the only two at the table and bang, of course he has pocket aces and so he has the full house aces over fives and I have fives over the what no, what did he have? I had pocket fives. It came up not five five ace, five ace ace. He had the ace five or something like that. It worked out to where I mean it was one of those weird hands where you're holding similar cards except he has the one that's better that makes the higher full house. And oh man, that hurt. But my favorite starting hand, believe it or not, is ace 10 suited. I love that hand to start with. Um, my least favorite hand because I've lost on it more and it's killed me more is jacks. Whenever I get pocket jacks, and I've told Zablo, I said, you know, every time I get pocket jacks, I seem to, queens beat them, kings beat them, aces beat them, and then I'll get like, oh, that's that uh, number where. Hold on, I got to get rid of this. In fact, I meant to, while I'm thinking of it, I need to block it. This is that number that came in uh, from Toronto, Ontario. And I actually looked it up, and it is people said that it was a spam call. Someone was talking Chinese on the other end. So I meant to block that yesterday and didn't. And they said they called multiple times a day, so I hope that doesn't happen. But so yeah, ace 10 suited is I like playing that. It's giving me luck. Pocket jacks or jacks if I have a pair of jacks, even three jacks. I've been beat so many times with jacks either way. Either I've got the jacks thinking I've got the good hand and I'll even calculate the odds like, okay, they would have to have this, this, and this, or this and this in their hand with that. And they have it. And so that's why I don't like jacks. So that's just throwing it out there to Dr. Kaz to see if he has a particular hand besides, of course, like pocket aces, which, they can be beat. Ace king suited is nice, but for me, the ace 10 suited that's kind of been my lucky starting hand. So anyway, shall we get some red? Huh?
Kaz did respond. He said that yes, he does play the circuit World Series of Poker, stops at Cherokee 3 times a year. It just ended on 12-3. And AG said that he made it in here even with the power going out sometime last night.
Man, his power is back on though. It's got to be, right?
Unless he's using cell phone.
That's what I was going to say. Unless he's on his phone and his. Well, AG, I appreciate you hanging. And I am going to have to do some. Let's see. I'm going to have to do some web work on the Daytona site later today. Tom's wanting me to get some stuff up, so I will do that for him when I am done with this. And I still got that Thanos piece I've got to get to. And that's not fun, like when what was it? Oh, my Monday. Man, it seems like it's Thursday. It seems like I already feel like it's Saturday or Sunday. This week has been one of those weird ones that they go by way too fast, and it seems like there's roadblocks all around. What is it? What's the Twilight Zone? Is it roadblock or stop sign? Roadblock ahead, something like that.
Not sure.
Thanks, Ron. Cherokee. Dr. Kaz, Cherokee is that South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, maybe? I know it's somewhere, and I'm pretty sure he's in driving distance. I mean, like real driving distance, not like coming up from Florida. And what's your favorite starting hand? I'm curious if you have one. If you have one, when you get those cards, you feel like, okay, I've had good luck with these. And here we go with the red. I'm actually just going to hit this over here first. Oh, yeah. I can go into his eye. I keep forgetting that I don't have to leave them white. Although they can be white, right? I kind of like them red. So there you go, Ron. Remember, I think you had asked the question if I put the red over the wash?
Yes.
I'm going to try to, let's see, I'm going to section this off a little bit. Not that I think it needs it, because with the playful gray tones, but just for the sake of my OCD.
So AG says the power's on. His alarm clock was flashing when he got up late 10 a.m. For him, for AG, queens, if he has had aces cracked many times.
Yep.
Kaz says Cherokee, North Carolina, Smoky Mountains.
Yep. Okay. I knew there was somewhere there, and it's a vacation spot too. Like I said, my mom and dad used to take my nephews there. Like at least once a year, they'd go up, and I never got there as a kid. We were always going to Alabama because that's where my mother's family. So when we were younger, it was go visit her sisters and brothers who are all Jasper, Alabama, little bitty town. And she comes from a family that had 13. I don't think I'm going to need a second coat of this red, Ron. See, that is one thing that the underpainting helps, is the saturation a bit. I mean, this is going to be light and dark enough. I don't know if you can see that as clear as. I mean, I'm going to kind of play around, which this is where what I don't need to probably do is like go back over and touch it. There, I got a little. That's what I get for playing around. A little red on my pinky. Get that off. Gone. Okay, Dr. Cazzo, but I need what is your favorite and don't tell me the winning ones. What what is your favorite starting pocket cards? You got to have some. He's going to tell me a 7-2 offsuit. Ron, do you know anything about uh cards, especially Hold'em? What we're talking about?
I know how to play. I don't know any of the terms.
Wait, how can that be? You have to know the terms to play.
I know the names of the hands.
Right. You know what beats what.
Yes.
You don't have to have someone say, Ron, you won that pot. Although it's nice when when you don't see it. And I've had that happen too, where I didn't see a winner and somebody's like, nice win. And I'm like, huh? And they're like, you gotta, yeah, I'm going to have to. I think this is going to be getting that black background I was talking about when I started, Ron.
Okay. So Kaz did chime in that he's an inquisitive player. He asks
Hmm.
himself at 12 questions every hand.
Oh, interesting.
A king is awesome. 5-7 suited in the middle position is his favorite.
Wow, now that's interesting. And of course, all the books and the poker people will tell you an 8-9 and suited is always good because you got that flush draw possibility. Um, the 8-9, you can make a low or high straight, and well, depending. So he really does see get into his own, which is good. He like knowing his position and what he has and stuff. Like I just know if I get ace 10, I've had such good luck with them. Unless somebody goes all in and I'm not feeling good, if they're on if they're on a roll, because I get on those myself, like a roll where cards are just coming my way. If somebody makes an outrageous bet, like maybe goes all in or something, I won't call it, even if unless I'm having good luck myself. But Kaz really is he is more in depth about thinking each hand through. I tend to just go a little more on biorhythm, I guess, so to speak. A biorhythm romp. Okay. time to let that dry, and that's the way the red would go over the gray wash, Ron. That answered your question from last week, I believe.
I believe you did. Thank you.
And now, see, I got this little of red, so I think I'm going to do a black background, kind of like I did on Kingpin. However, now that I think I'm going to do that, I'm thinking I might do a brushy, kind of how I was playing around yesterday, like the oil painting thing. When you have a portrait done, you do like you stain the canvas. I might do that. This time I'll do it with purpose. Yesterday I was just like up top. I thought about it after I scrubbed it in, and I'd scrubbed in a shape that was kind of, even though it's hard to say it was bad, I scrubbed in a shape that I didn't feel would really, be inviting to the rest of it. So this time I'll be a little more thoughtful in how I put that in. So I'm just thinking right now. Thinking that I will use this filbert brush, this one. That's not quite a flat because it's got a bit of a round to it, as opposed to a flat. This one being flat, you can see that this one's a little more round, which gives that little bit softer edge to things. And I didn't even know that myself till I started really looking into some stuff. Let's see. You know what and I think we discussed this, Ron, what I did like and what I think would kind of work good on this, since I don't really have this circle thing, is remember the Mr. Freeze you have, and I did like a definitive kind of shape background thing. I think I'm going to try to just pencil myself in some, like this is going to get all black, and just try to find ahead of time, like where I want some blacks, so it's a little thought out, just a bit. It doesn't mean I have to adhere to it, but it will make it a little more, maybe. We'll see. I'm not guaranteeing this, but it might wind up being completely black, which would still be fine, but we'll see. I think some of art is, some of the good things about it is that, as Bob Ross would say, is the accidents that happen. Sometimes, that is a really good thing. It's the best thing that can happen to you is when when something happens that you didn't plan and it turns out, being okay. So worst case scenario, if I have to fill this background in all black, that's fine because it's going to look good on the piece. So I'm not really overly concerned with it. What I think I'm going to do, though, is cut in these shapes, and then when I get into here, I'll use my other brush that will be better. Let's see if I can. I use that piece of tape as my straight line. And I keep moving this thing.
Shannon says, happy accidents.
That's right. That's exactly what they are. Um, and they do happen. That is true. So let's see. Okay. So far, so good. But Ron, I think that background really on that Mr. Freeze piece, seeing it again, when you brought it over, eh, I hadn't really looked at it, and since I did it, and seeing it again, really, it it worked out really well. That background.
It did. It had a cold look to it.
Yeah, it really, it was one of those things where I was very happy to see that, when I looked at it again, it was like, hey, that actually did work out.
AG says, and also, when in doubt, black it out.
That's right. Wallywood.
AG says that Mr. Freeze was a nice one.
Yeah, and that reminds me, that was the one where Ron, you and Ryan were kind of saying, yeah, go ahead, and I was going to finish it off the stream, and y'all talked me into staying on for 4 hours, and
Purely for selfish reasons.
yes, and that just that reminded me that I don't know where Ryan hasn't been around for a while. Hopefully he's doing okay.
He's out boxing kangaroos.
He could be. What if he was?
That'd be interesting.
That would be.
Hunting crocodiles.
Oh, we can do that here.
Well, not crocodiles, can we?
Alligators. You still got some gator meat, Ron?
I do.
I might have you bring me some.
I need to.
You you probably do. How much did you have total?
Oh, 75 pounds or something.
Yeah, you've probably had your fill of it, right?
I will be bringing you some.
Did you make any jerky out of it?
No, I didn't think of that.
They do have that, don't they?
I've seen it, yeah.
I thought I had too. All right, so How's that radius? That's looking pretty good. If I had my Pentel whiteout pen, I might just sling in some freehand surface. No, I don't want to do that. That would be where my controlling inner voice would come in and go, no, you want to get your template and make those radar signaling looking circles perfect. If you make them sloppy, you're going to hate this piece. That's what it would tell me, Ron.
Kaz says gator tastes like tough chicken.
It can be a little stringy.
I think it's all the way you cook it.
do you have tips, Ron?
Let's see.
To tenderize it? Do you
Well, so when it tastes tough, it's just typically because you didn't read to it enough and coddle it.
I have no
You really gotta sensitize that gator.
So what did you blow that gator up with? Or would you rather not say?
It was just a boomstick. I think it's 40 caliber that's loaded in.
Yeah.
Let's see. AG wanted to know how is gator meat. I guess that depends on who's eating it and how it's prepared.
Now I do remember, like I said, I think I told maybe just you, Ron, but my friend's mother's boyfriend in Crescent City had got a gator, and I remember the meat being out on the counter, and it was like this really pretty pink colored meat, right?
Yep. Pink and white.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say it's been so long since I've seen it like raw, you know. I mean, yeah, we have gators. We don't have one here; it closed down, but we used to have a gators dockside, and you know they want to serve it fried in these little balls, and it's like that's not the way to eat it.
AG says he's heard the chicken comparison and that they make gator brats at a local butcher shop.
That's interesting. A gator brat. That would be a good way. Maybe some. I guess you could make it into a sausage, right?
Yeah, grind it up.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that could be okay.
Yes, Kaz, you should counsel the gator first. Less tough. It needs to be raised right.
And I will tell everyone, just so they know, I have not mailed anything out yet. I'm gonna wait till, and I hope it's cool with you. I'm gonna wait till the. You know what? That just reminded me. I had another drop-in person yesterday and did not get back to do Steven's quick sketch symbiote Spider-Man. So Steven, if you're listening, if the kids are out of their testing, I meant to get to that by the time I could have. I had to get my mom to the ear doctor. See how I go off on these tangents? One thing, like, you know, I'm talking about mailing and then I remember I'm going to wait till after the Christmas deal because I took one thing that a guy absolutely needed to the post office. When did I take that? I think it was Tuesday. And I didn't have the other stuff prepared. I got his wrapped up, and it was when I came back and did all the other sketches except for the symbiote one. So that must have been Tuesday. But man, that post office was, I don't want to go back and get in that mess again. And I don't want stuff out in the mail for, mail does come on Mondays, though, don't it?
It should.
Christmas Eve. Yeah. I just, you know what? I don't trust the mailing system because well, I don't, any system where there's a holiday that falls like this or towards the end of the any this time of year, it's like people want to start that holidays quick. Like I'm sure today is, people that are at work are probably already, they're ready. They're ready for, this might be their Friday. And that's fine if that's your company and you're making it your own Friday, but unfortunately, being on the business of a freelancer, I've seen companies where they rush you to get work in and they're not doing anything with it. Like, say now, if I was working on a comic book and they were like, oh, we need it by Friday. Well, guess what? I know they just want it in the house. They're not gonna, it's not going anywhere. It's not gonna be, it's not gonna do them any good except, and this is back, this is memories from the olden days, back when comics, were not helped by the aid of a computer. It's not going to sit on a hard drive. This was actual physical pages. I know those pages that I had to get in was only to let them sleep easy and go, okay, that job is done. I'll deal with it when I get back. And I used to always like it when, now there was a few times when I've done stuff via email and I hit a deadline, and this is commercial stuff too. And so the deadline's done and I want to send the person maybe like hey, have a great weekend. Enjoyed working with you on XYZ project, whatever. And I get an autoresponder that they're out of the office and not only not back on Wednesday the 26th, but, and Dr. Kaz, I know you have your own practice, so this is not aimed at you. This is aimed at a company that, of course I wouldn't name it at Dr. Kaz. I'm the same way. We're our own business, so we can set our own hours, but you know what I mean. The places you would think would be open and you get an auto response. I'm using comics because that's where it's really prevalent. And then that editor is like, you get an autoresponder that, hey, I'm out of the office until January 7th. It's like, oh, great. So, I busted my butt and stuff so they could go relax and, they're out of the office till 7th and I don't trust their assistant to do anything with it. It's frustrating. But I understand, I'm just wired that way. I know people, I would like to be able to have time off, but it's not going to happen right now. But eventually, when I'm dead, right? No, that's not morbid. That's just a joke. Although it's probably true. Right, Ron?
I'm indifferent.
We'll get that rest when we're dead, dang it. Well, you work a lot too, though, Ron. You're having a good break. But I know you hump it when you're doing your thing. I think most people do, though. I think I like to think that a lot of people are. I know you put in long hours, as do I, and I'd like to put in longer hours, but I got a lot of things in my life that I have to take care of. So it's a fine out the line from Apocalypse Now. Brando, when he's talking about he watched a slug walk the edge of a razor blade without getting cut or something. I always thought that was a very cool line. I almost feel like that sometimes, like I'm walking the razor's edge. For what it's worth. That's what she said, Trebek. That's for Sable if he's watching.
Wonder if he's feeling better.
Oh, yeah, because we have a friend who is, how old is he? 94, and Craig has planned a little Christmas like breakfast for him on, when is the 23rd? Is that Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I think he texted me it was the 23rd. And the 23rd doesn't, I don't think the 23rd works for me because I know my wife has made some plans. I asked her last night, but I don't remember what they are. But I probably should go over, but I'm not. I'm probably going to have. Ron, you want to come over Saturday or Sunday?
Don't know. We could probably do either or.
If I had my own place, without a mom and a kid, and you could just crash and stay both days. I don't have that luxury. Let's see. Is that just, I'm not sure, but go ahead and touch this area up. It looks a little light. Put a nice big glob of ink on it. All right, so does the background work, or does it just look like noise? I'm not feeling it as much as I did on the Mr. Freeze. I'm thinking it's a bit much. I'm asking the audience. I think I need to cut out some, maybe down here at the bottom is what's bugging me. Like if I leave these up top, I think I'm okay. I think the ones that down here at the bottom are a little too. What do you think, Ron? Come on.
I don't know. I think the one right above his head, the shape of that white area, doesn't match like all the other shapes that kind of taper out.
Yeah, but I kind of like these more than I like these. Or do I get rid of the top ones and leave the bottom? The bottom one's almost kind of, can you kind of see like a blurred, like skyline, like a curve?
Okay.
Not that I did it on purpose, but I can kind of see that now. Do you see it? It's almost like if we use a circle and these would be the tops of the buildings and this would be the buildings going down.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of works, and I could get rid of these that are a little more geometrical. I think I'll do that. I think that'll work. Well, you know what? I'm going to do it. And guess what? If it doesn't work, like AG said, when in doubt, black it out. So I can black out the whole thing. But you're right. These I absolutely did cut in a bit different. They're a little more hard, not as soft. And I think they're throwing the balance off. It's amazing what little things, little decisions will do. Okay, let's just check and see if that one up there looks any better now. It looks a little better, but I still am not sure about it. I'm going to give the chat room, the people watching, time to throw a suggestion in the suggestion box. We have a suggestion box, right, Ron?
Yes.
No,
I type in the suggestion box.
I still think it's gotta be black there. You know what's going to happen, right? It's going to wind up being all black by the time it's done. But that's okay, because I like the power of a nice black background, especially with the red. Can't go wrong.
AG says when he squints his eyes, that white area right above his head doesn't fit the pattern.
And that's what I was feeling too. It didn't really work. I was trying to make it work, but my gut told me no. And like I said, these were the first ones I threw in, and they were a little, like you had said, Ron, they were a little more geometric than these ones at the side and bottom. They're a little more, I guess they're softer in a sense. I didn't have as much hard angles on them. Okay.
AG says it looks better.
Yeah, it does. Oh, let's see. And boy, this is a tough one because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, odd number. Okay. I'm thinking if I had a Pentel white pen, I would black it all out and then just add some white scribbles.
You could use that Martin's white ink.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
Dr. Kaz wants to know if you could just start over.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I'll be back at 12.
He says, just kidding, looks good. I like watching this process.
Yeah, this is the part where, I really hadn't planned a background, and that's my own fault, but I'm beginning to lean towards, I think black is going to be the best choice. Because even this is beginning to bug me. This is beginning to bug me, this one. And then I just got, now I could do them as a darker gray instead of black, but I don't think that's gonna. I think black, and then you know what? I think I will. Maybe 1 or 2 rings I can get with my white pen. I'll have to wait till this black is really dry though, so that's part of the process y'all won't see, but it'll be on the thumbnail and it'll be on Twitter. Ron, you'll see it on Twitter, right?
Not yet. Not yet.
Maybe I'll just text it to you. Because I really, it was it was a good thought, but it didn't work out. And I'm still thinking, when I think of Daredevil, I think of the radar rings. So even if I get a couple of those, although I was always told use an odd number, so maybe 3. If I get three white rings going around, I think it'll be gold. Well, let's just get rid. You know what? I really did like the way the thumbnail of the kingpin yesterday looked with the white stroke around it. I thought that was really cool because I couldn't just have that whole black thing, the whole black background set in on the black thumbnail, but the white stroke around it, I thought looked real nice.
Kaz says the black and red contrast looks amazing. He also likes the white gel pen rainy stuff too.
You know, I was even thinking of that. I was thinking this could be another rain effect, and that is the truth. I was beginning to think that I might be able to do a rain type deal, and I might. I don't know. I'm gonna have to let that ink dry nice for a while before I really go any further. All right, so I guess that will end this drawing on the live stream as it was, or as it were, or as it is. I got a lot of ink in this brush that's coming out. I'll tell you what, the cleanup from a stream is a lot of work too. I got to go down to the bathroom like 3 times and wash stuff out and get clean water for my 2 mason jars here and clean out this little pet tissue is I can go over there. That's too wet. All right, so I will figure out what to do with the background, whether it be a couple of radar rings or if it's a rain effect a little bit later. And I will post a finished version on Twitter. Ron, I don't know where else to post it that you can see it.
Do you still have an Instagram account?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah. I just don't post everything I do on Instagram. I guess I should, but I don't know. I just I don't I probably don't post as much there as it seems like, and maybe the reason I don't is because every time I go in, I have to scroll through everyone I'm following and look at their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm on top of it, it's fine. But if not, then I'm like, oh man, I missed a lot of posts, and I feel like I got to catch up with them. So for what it's worth,
too much of a time trap.
It can be, yeah. Unless, like I said, like the kingpin that I posted, I'll want to track that. So I will be back into that like more today than I have been. Okay, AG, thank you. And yeah, I guess our Instagram talk can wait. But I want to thank
I'm already downloading Twitter.
Well, no, you don't have to, man.
Creating the account right now.
Hey, just follow me.
I'm going to.
You can find a lot of other artists on there you like to follow. Like I said, I'm just mixing it up, you know. The stuff on Instagram, I just, I have a theory and it's unproven. I should probably be posting everything everywhere, you know. but I only have a certain amount of time, and I'm afraid if I've been giving YouTube a lot of love lately, trying to grow it. I think I'm stuck at 113 subscribers. So I need that extra burst to get me to like 120, 125, and get to that next 150 and then to 200 and further. It's funny because I'm watching the monitor and I can kind of see where that ink is drying. It's slowly getting less and less shiny, although it still will maintain a bit of shine even when dry. But anyway, I am going to wrap this up. So thank you all for coming out and viewing. If you are watching this on a replay or later and have not subscribed, I ask that you do subscribe if you're interested. Hit the notification bell so you can catch the next stream. If you like what you're seeing, thumbs up, give me a like, and you can always leave a comment down below and I will get back to you. You can leave a comment. You can yell at me. You can ask me questions. You can do whatever you want. And I'll see if I can't answer what you asked. So for today, that's it. Tomorrow, I will be back probably at 8 o'clock again. I was thinking I would do 7 this morning, but I decided to wait. So I'm thinking 8 o'clock. 9 o'clock's too late. So I cut the difference and figured I would go to 8. I don't think that'll be my regular time. When I get back to a regular schedule, I think it will be 7. I just think going into the holidays, pushing it another hour won't hurt. 9 o'clock might work, but I think in the long run, 7 is gonna still be my best time. But I don't know that. I mean, just for me, for selfish reasons. Well, for reasons that I got to get things done, and if I got to take people places and do things, and 7 works best for me. Getting into that 9 o'clock area, that could be appointments for people. So anyway, I've rambled enough. Thank you all. Ron, I will be in touch with you. You want to come back on tomorrow?
Sure.
Hello, Eve. I believe you're new in the room. I was just ending the stream, Eve, so I appreciate you saying yes. And maybe that was till I rambled so much. Ron, I will send you a link tomorrow, or I'm sure I'll text you or something today. All right?
All right, later.
Okay, y'all take care. Be good. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.